You know you're probably going to have a good day on the Australian share market when you see global markets moving higher and world leaders also are moving ahead on potential trade deals, even though the US has shut up shop for Memorial Day. My name's Jessica Amir, a market strategist here with Mumu. It's great to have your company on this 27th day of May. Yes, of course, the US market was shut last night, but we did still have positive leads from the get-go from other regions. And indeed, we saw the US futures markets open higher, suggesting the pin-up index, the S&P 500, will gain 1.2% to kick off their trading week when normal trade resumes our time this evening. Now, across the globe, sentiment is very bullish, basically setting a very confident tone for shares today. Firstly, we've not only seen Canadian stocks hit brand new record all-time highs, top performers there, in fact, all of the top 10 performers, they're gold stocks. And this basically serves as a reminder to all of us to perhaps look at gold stocks in our own portfolios, because we do have debt concerns continuing and also trade wars, they're not over too. And this supports gold moving to higher ground. Locally, let's look at an investment. This one's called GDX. It's the best performing, in fact, the second best performing exchange traded fund listed on the ASX, and it's up 43% this year. And heck, May's not even over. So well done to you if you are looking at this investment, or if you've got some investments of this similar nature in your investment portfolio. This ETF gives you exposure to the world's biggest gold companies, and it should be on your radar. Secondly, consider that European stocks are now just 2% away from brand new record all-time highs or thereabouts. European stocks are up 11% this year, and yep, May's not even done. So stocks that rose the most in Europe overnight included European banks and chip stocks such as ASML. This basically fueled our European markets to fresh highs, recouping some of the day's prior pullbacks. Now, investors locally have been buying the Global X European Stocks ETF. This gives investors exposure to the biggest companies in Europe, and they can buy that on the ASX as well and hold that in their share portfolio. This ETF, as we can see on the screen, for those that are tuning in on the podcast, this ETF is up 19% this year. Again, European stocks should be on your radar. They're benefiting from record defence spending. I've been speaking about that a lot on Mumu. Another bit of good news to add to your tool belt is that the US dollar has continued to decline, while industrial commodities such as those needed to build out the artificial intelligence development build out, think of copper, nickel, silver, they're all rising. Now add these two together and you basically have, I guess, a set of another equations to consider that you need to be considering some investments in either aluminium, nickel or silver stocks, because they are needed in the AI build out. And look, extra hot sauce today could come if we do hear more news out of China. So I do think, regardless of what I just spoke about, watching industrial metals, you should be watching China's market as well. So Hong Kong's Hang Seng is already up 17% this year. But if we do hear any whispers today of how China is actually doing what they've just recently announced that they're going to do, they're going to ramp up their 5-year plan to really kick up Chinese economic growth and really boost their narrative made in China. So what are they going to do? Well, China's going to look to develop semiconductors and new energy to really drive their economy forth for the next 5 years. Regardless, this is not only going to benefit China's market, the Hong Kong Hang Seng, but also those key industrial stocks as well. But I do think it's really important to now pause and reflect. Of course, the US closed for Memorial Day. It really serves as a reminder that we need to, I guess, look at our portfolios and how they're positioned for the end of month. Particularly, we do know portfolio rebalancing kicks into gear next month, and that actually causes a bit of volatility in stocks. Now, a part of this, I also want you to consider the narrative is what is taking place this week. Basically sets you up for 4 key themes that are going to continue to drive the best returns over the next decade. Now, 4 things, or a couple key things taking place this week. Australian inflation out tomorrow. That's likely to show inflation is falling. We also have steady US inflation. That's expected to be released, a report in about 2 days, as well as falling a US income known as GDP. And then the other catalyst is that we've got the second biggest company in the world, Nvidia, likely delivering another record blowout earnings report, their 4th in a row. And we'll get those results on Thursday morning. Add all this concoction together. What do you have? Well, basically, this is going to suggest why you need to be considering investments in 4 key areas. They'll be the backbone of portfolios over the next decade. Firstly, I want you to think about tech and AI stocks. Of course, we've been speaking about AI spending heading towards $1.3 trillion by 2032. So again, AI spending expected to hit $1.3 trillion by 2032. Secondly, I want you to consider investments in commodities that are needed in this AI sector development, and also the energy needed to keep the lights on at data centers. So uranium stocks and ETFs, they are one for you to consider as well. And over the past 5 trading days, we've seen uranium stocks really step up a notch locally and also globally as well. So here's an investment for you to look at. It goes by the ticker code of ATOM, ATOM. Of course, nuclear energy ETFs are some of the best performing ETFs now this year. This ETF on the screen is actually up 9% this year. The third group of investments that I want you to consider is industrial metals needed to build data centers, chips, and to also keep electronics cool. And lastly, I also want you to consider gold, keeping in mind that, as we said at the outset of this video, I do believe that gold will continue to hit new records. Particularly keep in mind that gold, which not a lot of people speak about, gold is needed in quantum computing chips. Gold, of course, is essential in keeping elements cool in chips. And don't forget that China's consumers are buying now records amounts of gold. So keep stocks like Regis Resources, Evolution Mining, West African Resources, and Generous Minerals on your radar. And that's it. Plenty to consider, including the 4 big key themes that will likely be driving the best returns over the next decade.